With so many options available, choosing the next product you sell on Amazon can be a real challenge. But through this door, we're gonna find a conversation somewhere in the world where someone has the same exact questions as you have right now. I hope this clears up a lot for you, and if you enjoy the video, remember to like and subscribe.
So Dan, I got these two products. They're in the same product niche. The criteria is excellent. And the differentiation on them, the opportunity to differentiate them to make them better is really, really good.
Yeah.
But how do I determine which product to go with? Like, how do I choose?
Key in choosing between stalemated differentiation products, like you've come to a brick wall on them having the same differentiation potential.
Okay.
Then what I would do is look at the nature of that differentiation, because we're in a very visual realm.
Right.
So when you go to like an offline store, you use taste and smell and touch, and you're able to go in the physical
I can
store.
experience it personally. Right.
Yeah, but in the online realm, what do you use? What senses?
Just my eyes. I can look at it. That's
Sight.
it. Right.
So visuals are super important. So when you're looking at between this product and this product, what I would be asking is, how does that differentiation lend itself to visual representation? Like, is that going to jump off the front page and show its value, the value we've added?
So you mean there's some differentiation that is not as visual on a picture, like the featured photo, as others?
Exactly. So
even though it's a really good differentiation, that would mean a lot to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're looking at spy cameras.
Right.
And for example, if we took the standard spy camera, which is on like most of the results, and we just improved the app.
Right.
Let's say on this hidden camera, the spy camera, we might add like great features to the app. But think about on the main image when we go to
hard to see that.
Yeah. And whereas this one, if we went and found a docking station or some accessory that is very visually appealing and representable on our main image, in an instant, people are going to see how our product's so much better.
So even at just a glance at that photo, I can tell immediately there's something better. That's so interesting, because like here I am focusing on, man, this is going to be so much better. But if people can't see it, then it's going to affect their desire to buy it.
Exactly, and especially as it gets more and more competitive, that's what I'd be looking at. I mean, that's
very good.
That's the product I would choose here, because when looking at the other, it's not as visually representable. You can differentiate it, but not in the way that's going to be as visually expressive and impactful as this other one.
So I got to differentiate not just realistically, but visually.
Yeah.
And it has to be a differentiation that people can quickly see with their eye.
Yeah.
It's super obvious.
And that's going to help you choose between those. So for that reason, I'll choose the one where we can visually differentiate most.
Gotcha.
Another big thing I would say with that is when you have that impact on the main image, you're drawing so much attention, you're upping click-through rate. So you're getting more clicks, more of those just people generally browsing for, let's say, spy cameras are actually on your listing. And also, because you've got this new value, this real visual differentiation, which is coming across powerfully, you have high conversion rate as well.
So when you say click-through rate, do you mean if I search a keyword and I get that first page of search results?
Yes, all the spy cameras.
If I click on one of those, that affects my click-through rate?
Yes, so that is your click-through rate. And the more clicks you're getting, the higher your click-through rate. So if 100 people type in spy cameras and they see all the spy cameras on the front page, and 10 of them click on your spy camera because you've visually expressed or chosen one you've differentiated in a very visual way, then you have 10% click-through rates, and you can build that higher and higher with the more impact you have in that main image. But it does come down to product choice and product building, not so much as an afterthought. It's got to actually be built in with the process and product decisions.
Gotcha. Okay. Dan, I am 1000% committed to making this work for me and my family. Like, I really want to make it work, and I will do it. But one thing that makes me nervous is the competition. So what are you doing to minimize the competition? Like, what can I do? Because there are so many people joining Amazon.
Yeah, this year I think the biggest thing you can do to minimize competition is work on pricing and price strategy. There are other methods. You could do things like brand registry, which only 2.6% of sellers actually do.
Right.
But I really think you need to focus on pricing and building a strategy there. So to emphasize why I believe so much in higher prices, let me ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
Number one, what price range do new sellers often get told to sell at? What price of product should you sell as a new seller?
Most of the YouTube videos out there are telling me between $15 and $25, which I like because it probably means it won't be very expensive for me to buy.
Yeah, and they also promote this because it's an impulse buy range, right? That's what consumers buy often.
Right, like, oh, it's not that much money, so I'll buy it quickly and don't evaluate it too much.
Okay, so 15 to 25. And second question would be, what MOQ, what order quantity are new sellers told to order on their first order generally?
Usually like 1,000. Like 1,000 units, sometimes 500, but usually like around 1,000 to make sure you get the price per unit low enough.
Yeah, 500 to, I would agree, 500 to 1,000.
Yeah.
And then how much capital would you say a new seller on average has in order to place that first order?
Probably $3,000.
3,000, okay. So when you think about that, if all these new sellers, of which there are many, we actually have 3,000 sellers join Amazon every single day, there's about a 60% retention rate a year later. So if we just average it out, we've got like 2,000 new sellers, real new sellers joining per day. So if they all follow either common sell price instruction of 15 to 25, like you said, then they're selling products at 15 to 25.
Right.
But also, if they leave that on the table and they follow common MOQ guidelines and they only have $3,000 to spend, think about that. If they're spending $3,000 on 1,000 units, that's a landed cost of $3 per unit, which is super cheap. If they even spend $3,000 on 500 units, it's a landed cost of $6 per unit. It's still very, very low. That could be manufacturing of $5 and shipping of $1.
Right.
That cost of product's not going to sell for more than $25. It's a cheaper product. So in both scenarios, you have the majority of these new sellers all selling $20 products or thereabouts. So your biggest opportunity this year is to break that mold, start thinking differently, selling for a higher price, stop following this herd who are all going to be selling the same price products.
So you're basically saying I need to move myself out of where everyone else is selling. So I'm not really just differentiating my product like you said, and how the product appears in the main image like you said, but I'm differentiating my strategy. So it's almost like I'm taking my business and I'm putting myself amongst a smaller group of sellers, because most people are thinking I'm going to go in at a really low price. I mean, this makes so much sense, but there's still a problem because higher priced products sell less.
Well, they don't. In short, we actually average the top 5 best-selling items on the entire platform. And take a guess what number we came up with.
30?
In fact, it was $62.
Seriously?
The average of the top 5 selling products on Amazon is $62.
Oh my goodness.
And that brings up a really good point. What we originally thought to be that impulse range, that impulsive buying range, is actually much higher than $20, $25. It's
so interesting. Maybe because more and more people are buying on Amazon, so they're more used to it now and they're not as nervous about buying online, where back then it was more novel. So what you're saying is, not only am I decreasing my competition by increasing or selling something that sells at a higher cost, not only am I taking advantage of the fact that there's fixed costs that don't go up when my product is more expensive, but I'm also still in the impulse range at a higher price, which means I'm gonna make more money, have less competition. That makes total sense. But the cost is still too high if I'm purchasing 1,000 units. So if I'm selling a product at $60, let's just say the product itself to manufacture costs 15 or 10 instead of $5 or $8. That's really, really expensive.
It would be, and that to most is a barrier. They don't look at that because of that. So when they think about common order quantities they have to order, let's say they have to order 1,000 units, then it makes it unattainable to perhaps do a product that has a landed cost of $20, because you know, first order $20,000 is a lot of money.
Correct.
But you do not have to do 1,000 units.
Really?
You don't have to do 500 units. You can do as many units as you see fit. This is your business. You can make this work any possible way.
So you think the suppliers, if it's a higher cost item, then that MOQ, that minimum order quantity, actually goes down. So maybe
yes.
I could do 200, 250, but then I might run out of my inventory because it's going to sell fast. Then what do? Now my business is kind of stopped.
It's a really good point, and you're 100% right. They will offer lower MOQs, but here's the thing. Every day of the week, I will take the situation of my product selling so well that it runs out. I run out of stock and be out of stock for 2-3 weeks on an item. I would much rather have that scenario than be stuck for 6-7 months with hundreds of units because I sold at the same price level as all of these other sellers. So in short, I would much rather do a lower order quantity, run out of stock if that's the case, and then reorder and start managing that inventory better. But I would start with lower order quantities, in a way reducing your risk.
Right.
And there are so many other benefits to higher price as well.
That begins to make sense in my mind because I remember someone talking about movement is life and you want your inventory moving, and something about storage fees going up after 6 months.
Yes.
Like, what is the point of 2,000 units sitting in Amazon's fulfillment center and it's sitting there and that money is frozen and I can't use it? So this is beginning to make sense.
That's a really good point too on the storage fees. Is you're reducing your risk of that too, because you know you're probably going to move through 200, 300 units much quicker than 1,000 units.
Right.